Story number 1. I've always considered myself a rational person. I work long hours, I live alone, and I don't scare easily. I've walked home through empty streets at 3 a.m. more times than I can count. But there's something about silence in a house at night. It's a different kind of threat. It's subtle, patient. That night, I got home just after 1. I'd been covering back-to-back shifts at the hospital, and my whole body ached. My only comfort in coming home was knowing Buddy would be there waiting for me. He was getting old, but he still greeted me at the door most nights, tail wagging like it weighed a ton. Except, he wasn't there. I called out. No sound. I kicked off my shoes and listened. The house was dead quiet. Still, I wasn't alarmed. Buddy had developed a habit over the years. Whenever it was late or he felt anxious, he'd crawl under my bed and sleep there, close enough to touch. Sometimes I joked that he was the one who needed comfort, but I think the truth was I needed him more. I washed up, changed into a t-shirt, and turned off the lights. When I climbed into bed, I instinctively reached down, letting my hand slide into the familiar space beneath the frame. And there it was. That warm, wet little gesture. A lick across my fingers. I smiled. "Good boy," I whispered. I lay there for a while, staring into the darkness, but I couldn't sleep. There was a sound, barely there at first. A dripping. Faint, rhythmic. It sounded like water hitting porcelain. I figured it was the bathroom faucet. I'd had problems with it before. Groaning, I got out of bed and shuffled down the hall. In the bathroom, everything was dry. The faucet was shut tight. Still, I twisted the handle just to be sure. The dripping stopped. I stood there for a moment, unease creeping in. Something felt off, like I'd interrupted something I wasn't supposed to see or hear. Back in bed, I pulled the covers up and reached under again, just to feel him, just to reassure myself. Another lick, just as before. Rough, warm, slow, familiar. But the sound didn't stop this time. The dripping was back. Only now, it wasn't coming from the bathroom. It was closer, heavier, a wet sound. I sat up, listening, straining. It was coming from the closet. My chest tightened. My body didn't want to move, but I made myself get out of bed and walk across the room. My fingers hovered over the door handle. The air felt colder there, like it was leaking out from the crack between the door and frame. I opened it. What I saw made the air disappear from my lungs. Buddy was there, hanging upside down from a pipe near the ceiling. His fur matted in red, blood dripping steadily onto the closet floor. His legs were bound, his eyes were open, and written on the inside of the closet door, smeared in thick red streaks, were the words, "Humans can lick too." Story number 2. I never trusted my own memory of that night. I was just a kid, 4 years old at most, and even now, it feels like something out of a fever dream. But when I told my sibling what I remembered, their version made it worse. It made it real. It starts with a strange feeling, one I still can't fully describe. Not fear, not exactly. More like something thick in the air. Something watching. I was playing on the floor in the living room, my toys spread out in front of me. My parents were outside. It was late enough that the light coming in through the windows had gone gold and heavy. Then I saw him. I can't tell you how long he'd been standing there. Just suddenly, he was there, in the doorway across the room. A man, tall, unmoving. He wore dark clothes, and his arms were raised, his hands gesturing, slowly, deliberately. He had no head. I remember the space above his shoulders, just empty air. But he was moving, trying to tell me something with his hands. Not frantic, just slow and careful, like someone speaking in sign language I couldn't understand. I remember staring at him, my breath caught in my throat. Then I turned and ran. At least, I thought I did. For years, I swore I had bolted down the hall and into my siblings' room. But they tell a different story. They say they found me still in the living room, standing completely still, eyes locked on a corner of the room, unblinking, unmoving. When they shook me, I didn't respond. Not at first. When I finally did, I cried. I told them what I saw. They didn't believe me. Or maybe they just didn't want to. It wasn't until I was older, much older, that my parents told me what they found when they were building the house. I guess I overheard something in a conversation and pressed them on it. At first, they brushed it off. Then my father sat down, real quiet, and told me the truth. When they were digging the foundation, before I was even born, they hit something. Stone. A corridor. Maybe part of an old underground structure. There were bodies. Old ones. Laid out in rows along the walls on both sides. They thought it was some kind of crypt or family tomb, but the workers were superstitious and left it alone. My father didn't want to make trouble, so they sealed it. Right underneath the house. Sometimes, late at night, I still think about what I saw, about that thing standing in the doorway, about what he was trying to say with his hands. I wonder if he wasn't trying to scare me. Maybe he was warning me. Maybe he still is.